welcome back to my channel. If you are new, this right here is a monthly segment that I dedicate to games that have been largely forgotten. This month, I will be talking about a true underrated gem on the PC, Nox. In the late 90s, if you were a gamer, there were probably two things you were into: Diablo or Unreal Tournament, or sometimes both. Diablo had been released in 1997 and had repopularized the isometric gameplay style and re-energized the dungeon crawler genre with its horror-style ambience and RPG-style gameplay mechanics. On the other end of the gaming spectrum, Unreal had revolutionized the first-person shooter with its Unreal Engine, leading to the creation of Unreal Tournament, one of the most popular and critically acclaimed online multiplayer shooters of all time. One of my favorites as well. Unreal Tournament combined amazing graphics with some of the most frantic online gameplay of that time. Now, why do I bring these two titles up? Well, keep watching the video and it'll all make sense. When Michael Booth started working on Nox in 1995, it was still an idea in development. It was first conceived to be an updated version of the game Gauntlet, but for the modern PC market. The game would be relying on fast-paced battle between wizards, and so a medieval setting was established for the game's storyline. He eventually came up with a working demo that he showcased to Westwood executive producer by the name of John Haidt, and he was so impressed that the studio acquired the rights to it. Once Westwood Studios got involved with the development of the game, it started to flesh out more into an RPG-style game. Once this happened, the game had two more character classes added to it. A Conjurer and a Warrior class would now accompany the original wizard that Booth had originally planned to use in the game. But since the very fast-paced action of multiplayer and spellcasting would be integral in making Nox unique, it was scrapped in turn for the mouse and keyboard controls, which allowed for more key inputs and controls for the wide array of spells at your disposal. The game would be released in February of 2000 to much excitement and critical praise. While many game journalists would be quick to point out the Diablo-style gameplay, they would soon realize that this title offered a much more fluid and heavily action-oriented pacing when compared to the Diablo game. This frantic action was something that was initially inspired by the quick and intense versus battles in first-person shooters, Unreal Tournament being a good point of inspiration. The choose site mechanic was also something that was used to great effect in order to enhance the gameplay and overall storyline. It would only allow you to see certain portions of the playing field. To assist you in navigating through the playing field, you also had a small map that you can bring up at any time by hitting the tab key. This helped out a lot in the more vast labyrinth-type dungeons later in the game. Speaking of which, the main game is broken up into 3 storylines, depending on which class you use. This is great because it's like getting 3 games in one, which is awesome. And each class has its own weapon and limits that lend to the specific stories and gameplay. The wizard is the slowest and weakest of the 3 classes, obviously, but what he lacks in strength, he more than makes up with the amount of magic spells he eventually is able to access. The wizard is also dependent on the magic meter just as much as his health. Since his spells are his bread and butter, magic potions are always a necessity to be carrying around on you. But there will be times you run out of these, and this is where the mana obelisks come into play. These stones are scattered throughout the environment, and you will be going back to them again and again, as they can actually replenish your magic meter. But these obelisks also need to recharge, so you have to strategize a little bit as you traverse the playing field. The Conjurer is sort of a hybrid between the wizard and the warrior class. You got access to more weapons than the wizard, but you still can't arm yourself with warrior class weaponry. But you know what? That's okay because this class has the ability to conjure creatures to aid you in fighting. He also has some spells that are unique to his class, such as the Force of Nature spell. That spell alone was a ass when playing against others in multiplayer. He's actually fun to play with since you get to summon many different types of creatures and see how they interact with other monsters in the game. The warrior is of course the most powerful of them all when it comes to health points. He can take a beating and keeps on ticking. He has access to all the best swords in the game, all the best armor, but he has no access to any magic at all. None. What he does have, however, is skills, and they are pretty damn cool too. You can get up to 5 skills total. The storyline and overall feel of the game is a cross between fantasy and a little bit of humor.
Donande tak, donande tek, a rumentala sed. Damn. Lousy second-rate candle makers. Kill them all when I rule the world. What sort of half-baked operation do they think I'm running here? Now where was I? Dananda tat, da da da. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It never veers off to one side too much, and it somehow manages to keep a balanced feel throughout the campaign.
Greetings. I am Master Conjurer Alwyn, and you are sent by the captain, eh? Well, there is indeed room for one more apprentice, but you must pay 30 in gold for your charm creature spell. Do you accept my offer?
You are basically a regular guy called Jack, hanging out in his trailer park home, and somehow you get sucked into a vortex.
What the heck?
After the villainess of the game, Hecuba, is conjuring some kind of a spell. Next thing you know, there's a portal that opens up on the wall, and he gets sucked in, and he gets transported to Nox.
One black heart, one grievous soul. I call upon the power of Grimorum Sanctissimum.
What the?
Your guide to the world is an old airship captain who remains pretty much anonymous, but towards the end of the game you find out his more direct connection to the history of Nox.
I don't know what's happened or where I am or... What is this place?
No place at all, except the clouds. But off the noble Julian you go, under your power, or by the lift of my boot!
Ah!
Hold on, what's this?
It's my TV.
And what does this TV do?
You come to find out that you must retrieve 3 pieces of a staff called the Staff of Oblivion. Won't get too much into the details of the story, but I'm gonna say this. The staff is given to 3 factions in Nox. 1 to the Wizards of Galava, or 1 to the Conjurers in the Temple of Ix, and 1 to the Warriors of the Fortress of Dunmir. The graphics are all from an isometric view, with lots of textures and details in the environment. What is also cool is that many things in the environment are able to be interacted with. Pushing tables and chairs, knocking things over, it kind of gives you a much more immersive feel when running around this place. Many things are not just part of the scenery, and that is a change of pace from most titles of that time. When you walk into towns and taverns, you immediately feel that you are part of something bigger as NPCs walk in and out of doors, talk to one another, and you engulf your senses into the town and crowd ambience. I always remember that part of the game specifically, walking into a room full of people and hearing all the chatter going on between them in the background.
Welcome to the Shop of Bright Blades. How can I help you?
Some parts of the game and certain interactions and confrontations come off as quite funny and almost blindside you since you don't see them coming at all. This lends to the charm that the game brings to the table.
You think I run in fear of you, boy? You believe that I am afraid to face you? Come then, I weary of our little game. Come and embrace your death.
What? No! Trolls everywhere! Ah!
Many of the enemies you will fight at the beginning are pesky urchins and maybe even forest animals, some spiders as well, but never underestimate them or you can get overwhelmed real fast.
You failed to succeed in becoming Horvath's apprentice and lost your meaningless life in the effort.
These urchins right here, they seem cute, sound cute, but if they gang up on you, they can quickly kill you. Little son of a bitches. There are also traps and other dangers that are part of the world of Nox. Your character can move fairly quickly when running about, but sometimes it's also a good idea to proceed slowly. Even use your surroundings to proceed past obstacles. You also have the ability to jump, which you're going to need to do from time to time. You can also regain health not only from the potions found, but by eating foods that you find along the way. You can also store food in your inventory for later use. Next up are the Hotkeys. They are an integral part of traveling the world of Nox. Spells and skills are important in surviving the dangers you're going to come upon. You can assign skills and spells to certain keys on the keyboard for fast access. Spells and skills are acquired after finding certain books. Once clicked on, you will gain the knowledge of that skill or spell in that book, as it is added to your hotkey setup menu below. You can have up to 5 different hotkey arrangements that you can toggle through with the mouse scroll wheel. This right here is a skill that you're going to benefit from and should master as soon as possible, finding what spells or skills to assign to what keys and creating specific spell groups, since battles are fast-paced, especially in multiplayer. Speaking of multiplayer, this is where the fun factor really took off when the game originally came out. Multiplayer is why hotkey memorization and placement of spells and skills are crucial. Don't let that overwhelm you. When the game developers created the online portion, they wanted that same frantic feel as when you're playing a first-person shooter and that feeling you get when you're switching weapons during confrontations. This was the way multiplayer was approached by the Nox team. The multiplayer games had team deathmatches, capture the flag, and a free-for-all. Aside from learning hotkeys, was the ability to learn the pros and the cons for each class. Warriors have no real projectile attack, so they rely on powerful swords, only they need to be close to do damage. This is where his skills come in. The harpoon can be used to not only reel in enemies, but keep them from capturing a flag or getting near a magic stone to recharge. His war cry can be used to stun nearby opponents and even cancel out other spells, such as the Conjurer's Force of Nature. The Conjurer can use the ability to summon creatures to deal with enemies and also has the ability to use a crossbow, which gives him a deadly long-range option that is not tied to magic and can take out most units with one shot unless that unit is fully armored or protected by some magic defensive spell. He also has the Stone Fist and Force of Nature spells, and has access to bombers, small units that you can imbue with several magic spells, and they all activate the moment it makes contact with a target. But they all quickly deplete his magic, leaving him fully vulnerable unless he has a crossbow at hand. The Wizard is a ton of fun to play in multiplayer since he has a large array of spells at hand, but not all are available during online play. He can be easily killed by a good hit from a crossbow or a few hits from a weak warrior. He can use spells such as a Death Ray for a one-hit kill, or erect magic walls to impede enemy advancements to certain areas. A great option in Capture the Flag games. He can also cast traps and teleport, like the Conjurer. The Fireball spell is a great long-range attack as well. Wizards would be wise to use a spell to slow down their enemies as they kept their distance and used missile attacks from far. And look here, I still have the manuals that came with the game. Now for the younger audience out there, this is what used to come with games when you bought them. Yeah, they actually came with manuals and other cool little things. This one right here came with a regular manual, as well as a manual that went over the classes and their specialties. I also have the layout cards showing you the UI and the keyboard layouts. This is so awesome. I miss those times when you bought a game and it came with all this kind of stuff inside, all these manuals, sometimes maps and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I don't have the big box anymore. I have no idea what happened to it. This game right here brings back so many memories. I wasted away so many nights playing this game online, and it's probably one of the only few games that I can say I was addicted to with its online gameplay. Luckily, there are a small number of dedicated fans out there that are still hosting Nox servers for online matches. There was also a patch released for the game that was free, and it added a quest and allowed for local LAN play as well. It's highly recommended you get this patch if you get this game. I even found out that there is someone creating a spiritual successor to the game. Check this out right here. It is called Glaurung. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If not, I apologize. Regardless of how you say the name, this game looks amazing. It looks great. Check it out on channel Timor. Is it Timor or Timor? And help support his game if you ever want to see a Nox successor. Seeing as how, EA has left it pretty much to die. Yeah, thanks a lot, EA. Thank you so much. Thank you for ruining another possible franchise. I'm going to be supporting this game and keeping an eye on it. I can't wait. Nox is available online for purchase via the GOG website if you are interested in experiencing one of the best action RPG style games from the early 2000s.
Welcome, candidate. You're just in time. Step forward and witness the next candidate run the gauntlet and add to the glory of the Fire Knights. Come on, let's watch.
I hope nothing bad happens.
For the glory of horrendous Gaia!
That's it for me.
Not the right start. Well, you're next. Good luck, candidate.
Don't let its release date fool you though. The gameplay is as good today as it was 22 years ago. So that right there is Nox by Westwood Studios. An amazing game that unfortunately time has forgotten for the most part. Ever played this game or even heard of it? Let me know in the comments section. Hope you enjoyed this video and maybe even learned about a great game you might enjoy in the near future. Give it a try, you won't be disappointed. Until next video, keep watching, keep gaming, and as always, take care of yourselves.